Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing really well at home. I hope those of you that have been coming into school have been enjoying your time back at school. I've got another video for you today, and today's focus is healthy eating and why it's really important to eat a balanced diet and what a balanced diet actually means. So I'm going to do a little bit of talking, a little bit of explaining, and then I've got a couple of activities that you can have a go at home. So this on the board is something called the Eat Well Guide. And it's been published by the government to help people make good diet choices and to make sure they're really informed about what the different food groups actually are. And it gives us an idea of roughly how much we should be eating of each food group. So fruits and vegetables takes up a really large portion of this oval. They're really, really important. You get lots of nutrients from fruit and vegetables, which are really good for you, and I'll talk a bit about that in a moment. The next largest segment, if you like, is potatoes, bread, rice and pasta, or other carbohydrates. We've got a really small section here in purple for oils and spreads. Next here in blue is dairy and alternatives, so that's things like milk and cheese and butter. And then here, this pink section is our meat, our eggs, our fish, and other proteins as well, like beans or pulses, like lentils and things like that. So this gives us a rough idea of what we should be eating. And you'll notice in this little triangle, it says foods high in fat, salt or sugar. That would be things like chocolate, fizzy drinks, crisps, hot dogs, types of things that we should only have as a treat. And then here, fluids. It's really important to drink lots of fluids, but not fizzy drinks, not too much caffeine, teas and coffees, but really lots of water is the best thing you could be drinking to keep a healthy lifestyle. Now, let me explain a little bit about what we call our Eat Well Guide. I've just told you the different food groups, and basically a food group is a way of explaining the nutrients that food gives us mainly to help us make informed choices. And a nutrient is the chemicals that are in that type of food that help our bodies to do certain things. And I've got a little list here of some of the things it's really important to know. So the government think we should base our meals on this second group, the yellow group, the starchy foods or the carbohydrates. So we should start thinking about those first. But they tell us that we should eat lots of fruit and vegetables. And fruits and vegetables have got nutrients in that do all kinds of things to help your body. So things like helping our skin or helping the way our hearts function, keeping our hearts healthy, keeping our guts and our stomachs healthy. So it's really important to eat lots of fruits and vegetables. And maybe you'd like to find out a little bit about some of the things that fruits and vegetables could help your body to do. So that's an extra task for you there if you'd like to take it. They also recommend that we eat more fish. So try and have fish, an oily fish every week. That's supposed to be very good for our bodies. So that would be in the pink section here where it says beans, pulses, fish, eggs and meat and other proteins. Fish should be part of that. So I wonder if any of you eat fish at the moment or whether you could maybe introduce it to your diet. They tell us that we should cut down on something called saturated fats, and that's fats that are found in things like butter and cheese. And we shouldn't eat too much of that. We should be really careful about the amount of salt we eat as well. So we shouldn't add salt too much to food because food already has salt in it anyway, although I do like to put salt on my chips when I have them, but I do only have them as a special treat. And the other tips they give us, which are things we already know, are things like drinking lots of water throughout the day, so keeping yourself hydrated. That's really important for helping us function. And also to be as active as you possibly can and do lots of exercise. And that's why every week in your home learning, or as part of it, we've recommended that you keep up with Joe Wicks or whatever other exercise you've enjoyed doing. I know lots of you have been on bike rides and things like that, which is great. So the government actually tell us a plan of how to eat healthily. And we can do some thinking now about how to take that on board. So let's have another look at those sections. We've got our really large section of fruit and vegetables, and there's lots of pictures of fruit and vegetables on there to help us think about what they might be. So things like grapes and strawberries and bananas, salad foods like lettuce and cucumber, tomatoes, we've got, which aren't a salad, mushrooms and carrots and Brussels sprouts on there too. Lots of vegetables which will come in handy in a moment. Then we've got our potatoes, so we've got things like bread and cereal and potatoes, pasta and rice. And we've got our oils and spreads, so we might use a bit of oil to cook with a lot of the time. Dairies, and also, like I say, the milks and the cheeses. Beans and pulses, so your fish and your meat. Now, if I were going to make a perfectly balanced meal, I'd need to choose something from each section. But I'd have to use the guide here to help me think about how much of each thing I should be eating. So if I'm looking at the guide, I'm thinking, well, I don't want to choose lots and lots of meat and just have a plate of meat, because that's not balanced. And I don't want to have just cereal, which is carbohydrate, and milk all the time for every meal, because I wouldn't be eating a balanced diet throughout the day. So I wouldn't want to eat cereal for breakfast, lunch and dinner, even though I like it. Now I'm going to design my perfect meal using the Eat Well plate to help me. So the first thing I'm going to do, like the government suggests, is I'm going to choose something from our yellow and orange section, our carbohydrate section, and rice is my favourite carbohydrate. So I'm going to choose rice for my meal. I'm not going to have heaps and heaps of rice, but I am going to have a healthy portion. So I'm going to have rice on my plate. And then I think I might have, well, the government say to eat oily fish once a week. So I might have fish with my perfect meal here, my balanced meal. I might have some fish, and I'll probably use a little bit of oil to cook that in, but just a bit, because remember the purple part is only a thin sliver of that guide, so it should only be a small part of our diet. Now, I don't think this meal needs any dairy, so I'm not going to have it this meal, but I would make sure I ate it at another point in the day. I wouldn't want to leave dairy entirely out of my diet unless I need to. But look, I've still got this big section of fruit and vegetables, so I could add lots of vegetables to my plate, and I'm going to. So I don't just have to have one vegetable, I can have lots and lots of vegetables on my plate, or I can have loads of the one I like. So I'm eating fish today. I'm going to have some green beans with my fish, and I'm going to have mushrooms, and I'm going to have some tomatoes. I'm going to have maybe a bit of onion. I might have something like some little baby corn, because I love them, and I'm going to stir fry them, and I'm going to have them with my fish on my plate. So I've created a really balanced meal, and actually if I did want to add some dairy, I might have yogurt for my dessert. I'm not going to have any food that's high in fat or sugar. I'll save that. Maybe I'll have a chocolate bar as a treat, but not too often. So your first task, children, is to create your own plate of food that shows a healthy, balanced diet. Now, I'm going to save this guide onto our website under it's under the children's section. There's a section called school closure, and then there's a folder in there that's called video lesson resources. This will be in there, so you can use this to help you, but I'd really like you to design your own plate that's a perfectly balanced meal. You could also, if you wanted, create a poster about foods that are healthy and foods that are unhealthy. But I think what's really important to think about is that no foods are banned, but we have to think about certain foods that we have in moderation, which means we don't have too much of. So things like those treats and things like dairy, not eating loads and loads and loads of it. And so hopefully today, while you're doing either of the tasks I've suggested, either the plate of a balanced meal or the healthy and unhealthy food poster, I hope that you do some thinking about what makes that healthy, balanced diet. And like I said, you might also want to investigate what nutrients in fruit and vegetables actually do to help your body, and in other foods as well. So that could be some research that you do if you'd like to. But I've got one more task for you today. So on this little, I've got a chopping board next to me, and on my chopping board I've got some fruit and vegetable, some fruit actually, that I had at home. My banana was nearly to the point where you couldn't eat it, so I thought I'm going to make use of it, and I'm going to make a fruit face, just to make eating fruit a bit fun. So fruit's really good because you can have so much of it. It's really good to use as your snack as well. That's why we have fruit as our snack in school. But I'm going to have a bit of fun with it today. So I've got some bits of my banana that I said was the skin was almost black, but look, it's okay inside, so don't let that put you off. I'm going to use some pieces of banana and I'm going to pop them on my plate. And I've got some blueberries as well. Now, blueberries are really good for you. They're full of nutrients. I'm going to use them on my plate too, and you'll see my finished product in a minute. I had some strawberries. I really love strawberries. So I'm going to use half a strawberry. Look, I've chopped it up. Now, if you're going to do what I'm doing, I'll show you in a moment, you might want an adult to help you with the chopping, because you'll need to do that very carefully. So I've got my strawberry on my plate, and I've also got some apple. And I'm just going to use one piece of chopped up apple on my plate. But also kicking around, I've got some mini breadsticks, one of my carbohydrates, so I can have a few of those. And I'm going to pop those on my plate too. Here we are, look. I might do a couple more breadsticks. And now my snack is ready to eat. It's only a small snack. I'm sure you can probably do better than this, more than this. So I'm going to lift up the camera now and show you my fruit snack. And here we are. It's a fruit face. So another challenge, another task for you today is to make yourselves your own fruit face snack to enjoy as part of a healthy diet. Enjoy, children.